I'll never forget that Tuesday morning when my daughter's voice cracked as she whispered, "Mom, please don't wear that to Liam's birthday party." My hands froze on the loud floral dress I proudly bought for my grandson's celebration. In the full-length mirror, I suddenly saw what she saw: a 65-year-old woman drowning in fabric that screamed, "Trying too hard." The worst part? This wasn't the first time. For years, I'd oscillated between frumpy sweaters that aged me and bright prints that made me look like a walking wallpaper sample. That afternoon at the mall, I wandered past store windows showing mannequins my daughter's age wearing outfits I could never pull off. Then I spotted Susan from my book club, same age as me, but somehow glowing in fitted jeans and a crisp white shirt. Not young clothes, but timeless ones. She caught my stare and laughed. "Oh honey, you're still dressing like my grandmother." Before I could protest, she dragged me into a dressing room with an armful of her own clothes. The moment I squeezed into her daughter's high-waisted jeans, with the stretchy waistband, bless modern fashion, something shifted. Paired with my own pearl-button blouse and a structured blazer, I didn't look like a mom playing dress-up. I looked like me, just the most polished version I'd seen in decades. Susan adjusted the collar with a knowing smile. "The secret isn't wearing young clothes, Linda. It's wearing clothes that make you forget to count the years." As I walked out of that store wearing the jeans, yes, I bought them immediately. 3 separate strangers complimented my outfit. Not "you look good for your age," just "you look amazing." That night, my husband did a double take and murmured something he hadn't said in years. "Red hot." Turns out, the most rebellious thing a woman over 60 can do isn't dyeing her hair purple. It's refusing to disappear into the background. The following weekend, Susan showed up at my doorstep with 2 venti lattes and a determined glint in her eye. "We're doing a closet cleanse," she announced, marching past me toward my bedroom. Before I could protest, she'd flung open my wardrobe doors with the energy of a woman half her age. What spilled out was a museum of my fashion insecurities: shapeless tunics bought because they hid problem areas, beige cardigans that screamed invisible, and that one disastrous sequin top I'd worn exactly once to a New Year's Eve party where I'd felt like a disco ball with varicose veins. Susan pulled out a black pantsuit I'd worn to my mother's funeral 15 years ago. "Why are you keeping this?" she asked gently. The truth stuck in my throat, because at 65, I still didn't know how to dress for joy instead of obligation. As we sorted through decades of accumulated fabric, patterns emerged like archaeological layers. The young mom era of stretchy waistbands, the corporate years of boxy blazers, and more recently, the "I've given up" collection of elasticated pants. Then Susan unearthed a treasure: the emerald green silk blouse I'd worn on my 30th anniversary, buried beneath a pile of dowdy sweaters. "This," she declared, "is your power color." She paired it with the daughter's jeans from our mall adventure, and a pair of my own forgotten leopard print flats. The transformation in the mirror wasn't just about clothes. It was the first time in years I recognized the woman staring back. We created 3 piles. Timeless keepers: the silk blouse, a perfectly tailored black dress. Modern updates: jeans that actually fit, a leather jacket that didn't date back to the Reagan era. Retirement home donations: anything that made me sigh and say, "I guess this is what old ladies wear." The real breakthrough came when Susan made me try on my own daughter's abandoned clothes, items I previously dismissed as too young. A cropped denim jacket transformed my basic black dress into something chic. My daughter's high-waisted trousers, which miraculously fit, made me stand taller. "Age-appropriate doesn't mean frumpy," Susan said, adjusting the collar of a borrowed striped tee. "It means wearing what makes you feel powerful." By sunset, my walk-in closet had been reduced to a curated collection that actually reflected me, not the exhausted grandma I'd assumed society expected. That night, I caught my husband peeking into our bedroom with amused curiosity. "Don't get any ideas," I teased, striking a pose in my new old jeans and that glorious emerald blouse. His responding grin told me this fashion revolution might have benefits I hadn't anticipated. The next morning, I did something radical. I dressed for myself first. No more "will people think I'm trying too hard?" No more "is this color too bright?" Just a woman of 65 sliding into her favorite new outfit, ready to face the world on her own terms. I stood frozen in the cosmetics aisle of our local department store, clutching a tube of rose petal lipstick like it was a live grenade. For 20 years, I'd stuck exclusively to safe mauves and barely their nudes, colors that whispered rather than spoke. But Susan's voice echoed in my head. Linda, you're not decorating a nursing home. You're celebrating a life. With a deep breath, I reached for the bold crimson shade displayed front and center. The transformation began subtly. That first swipe of red lipstick during my weekly grocery run earned me 3 compliments before I'd even reached the dairy section. My mailman, who'd barely glanced at me in a decade, actually tipped his hat and said, "Looking sharp today, Mrs. W." But the real test came at my monthly book club meeting, where the usual sea of beige and gray sweaters parted as I walked in wearing a cobalt blue wrap dress I'd rediscovered during the Great Closet Purge. Margaret, our group's self-appointed fashion critic, peered at me over her reading glasses. "Someone's feeling adventurous," she sniffed. Before I could retreat into self-consciousness, Susan countered, "Someone's finally dressing like the main character in her own life." The room went quiet in that way it does when a truth too long ignored gets spoken aloud. That night, I found myself studying old photo albums, real paper ones with sticky plastic sheets. There I was at 30, radiant in a sunshine yellow sundress. At 45, commanding a boardroom in an emerald green power suit. Somewhere along the line, I'd let the world convince me vibrant colors belonged only to the young. Susan helped me understand. When we stop wearing color, we start disappearing. We developed what Susan called the 60-plus color playbook. Rule 1. Your best colors live in your happiest memories. That coral from your honeymoon, the sapphire of your favorite cocktail dress. Rule 2. One bold piece per outfit keeps it sophisticated. A fuchsia blazer with neutral basics. Rule 3. Metallics count as neutrals. A gold belt elevates even the simplest jeans and tee combo. The ultimate test came at my granddaughter's ballet recital. While the other grandmothers blended into the audience like wallpaper, I wore a violet blouse that made my silver hair glow. During intermission, a woman tapped my shoulder. "Excuse me, but you're the most stylish person here." I nearly cried. At 65, I'd become the woman my younger self always admired from afar. Now when I pass mirrors, I don't see age. I see energy. The ruby red cardigan that makes my morning coffee runs feel like Parisian adventures. The turquoise statement necklace that sparks conversations with strangers. Even my old standby black dress gets new life with a metallic silver belt. Margaret from book club? Last week she showed up in a cerulean sweater. "Figured it was time for a change," she muttered. I just smiled and handed her my tube of rose petal lipstick. The revolution spreads one bold choice at a time. The jewelry box had sat untouched on my dresser for nearly a decade. A relic from my corporate days when I'd worn the same understated pearl studs like armor. But on the morning of my 66th birthday, Susan arrived with a gift wrapped in robin's egg blue paper. Inside lay a pair of chunky, Art Deco-inspired earrings that caught the light like shattered champagne glasses. "Your face is a masterpiece," she declared. "Time to give it the proper frame." I'd forgotten how much joy accessories could spark until that first lunch outing wearing Susan's gift. The way the geometric silver earrings danced with every laugh, how strangers' eyes were drawn upward to my smiling face rather than downward to my aging hands. My usual order of just a salad transformed into "I'll have the crab cakes." Because suddenly, I felt like the kind of woman who celebrated with abandon. We spent that afternoon raiding my own forgotten treasure troves. The delicate filigree bracelet from my honeymoon buried under scarves. The vintage Chanel brooch my mother had gifted me when I turned 40. Susan taught me the golden rule of mature accessorizing. After 60, every piece should tell a story or spark joy. Otherwise, it's just clutter. The 3 accessory renaissance. Earrings as spotlight. Hoops to lift sagging jawlines, chandeliers to brighten eyes. Scarves as magic tricks. Tied at the collarbone to camouflage neck wrinkles. Knotted at the hip to define waistlines. Belts as time machines. Cinching blazers to recall our slimmest silhouettes. The real revelation came when I experimented with my daughter's abandoned accessories. The bold leather cuff I'd once deemed too rock and roll. The oversized cocktail ring that had seemed impractical. Paired with my new uniform of well-fitted jeans and colorful tops. These pieces didn't make me look like I was trying to be young. They made me look alive. At our next book club meeting, I arrived wearing Mother's cameo pendant with, "Heaven help me," a leather jacket. The room's collective gasp wasn't about the outfit. But how the juxtaposition made my eyes sparkle. Even Margaret begrudgingly admitted, "Well, you don't look like someone's grandmother." "Wrong," Susan chimed in, clinking her wine glass against mine. "She looks like a grandmother who remembers she was a woman first." That night, I caught my reflection in a store window. The glint of metallic, the flash of color, the confident stride of someone who'd reclaimed her spark. Not a desperate attempt to turn back time, but a joyful celebration of every year earned. The jewelry box stays open now, its treasures no longer waiting for special occasions. Because at 66 I've finally learned, every day you're alive is occasion enough. The invitation to my high school reunion arrived on the same day I received my first social media message from a stranger. "Where did you get that fabulous jacket? You're my style inspiration." I stared at my phone in disbelief. Me, Linda Whitmore, suddenly someone's fashion muse at 66. The girl who'd once hidden behind oversized sweaters now had women half her age asking for style advice. I nearly didn't attend the reunion. Visions of my former classmates, still stuck in the same dated looks from our senior year, made me hesitate. But Susan wouldn't hear of it. "This isn't just a reunion," she insisted, fastening the clasp of a dramatic statement necklace around my throat. "It's your victory lap." The hotel ballroom fell into stunned silence when I walked in. Not because of my emerald green wrap dress, though it did turn heads, nor because of my perfectly styled silver hair, now a feature rather than something to hide. What shocked them was my posture, shoulders back, chin lifted, moving through the room like I owned it. The girl they remembered as Mousy Linda had vanished. My old classmate Richard, now balding and paunchy, squinted at my name tag. "Linda? Is that really you?" His gaze traveled from my leopard print heels to my artfully layered necklaces. "You look incredible." The pause before the compliment spoke volumes. He couldn't quite reconcile the vibrant woman before him with his memory of the wallflower I'd once been. The real magic happened during the then and now slideshow. When my senior portrait flashed on screen, frizzy hair, ill-fitting dress, eyes downcast, a murmur rippled through the crowd. The contrast with the woman sipping champagne at table 3 was almost jarring. Not because I looked younger, I didn't, but because I glowed in a way no 20-year-old could fake. Susan, my unlikely fairy godmother, watched from the sidelines with proud tears in her eyes. Later, as we shared a cab home, she squeezed my hand. "You've given them permission to change too," she said. Indeed, 3 classmates had already asked where I shopped, and the woman who'd once been voted best dressed quietly confessed she'd been wearing the same style since 1987. Now when I pass women my age dressed in head-to-toe beige, I don't judge, I remember. I remember the safety of blending in, the fear of being too much. But I also know the secret Susan taught me. Style isn't about age, it's about energy. The right outfit doesn't turn back time. It makes the years you've lived shine brighter. As I write this, my granddaughter is playing dress-up with my jewelry box, wrapping herself in my silk scarves. "When I'm old like you, Grandma," she announces, "I want to look just as beautiful." I kiss her forehead and whisper the truth it took me 6 decades to learn. "Darling, you don't wait to become beautiful. You claim it every single day."